Can anybody tell me the definition of a Pyrrhic victory?
I can.
Yes.
I can too.
I think I had my hand up first.
Martin might have been first.
Yes, I was.
He was definitely first.
Yes. Well, a Pyrrhus.
Welcome to Classical Etc. You're in the studio with Memoria Press.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Classical Etc. I'm Jessica Aboud, and I am here with Paul, Tanya, and Martin. Glad to have everybody back, as usual. It always feels good. Martin, did you read anything while you were away?
I read the first couple essays in Susan Sontag's Against Interpretation and Other Essays and loved it. Dr. Scheffler, one of our Memorial College professors, claims that one of the books that we did a podcast on, which was Philip Reif's book, The Triumph of the Therapeutic, that she was Susan Sontag, who wrote some novels and essays. She was married to Philip Reif, and Dan claims that she really was responsible for his book, Triumph of the Therapeutic. I don't know if this is really true.
Now, this is not one of our podcasts because I haven't read
It's
that.
one of the Memorial College
the Dust
podcasts.
Jacket? Is that what it is?
Jacket.
Yeah,
Dust
I saw
Jacket
that.
podcast. No, it's one of my favorite intellectual books, and apparently, according to some, she actually wrote a lot of it.
Tanya?
Highlands Latin School students, they've invited me to their book group, and they are reading Till We Have Faces by C.S. Lewis. Have you read that?
Yes.
Do you like it? Because I'm not a fantasy person.
I
and
read it
it's based on Circe and
The
Psyche,
sisters.
Psyche.
I read it as a high schooler.
Have you read it?
And then I read it later in life, and I liked it when I read it a second time as an adult.
Okay.
I thought it was,
okay.
yeah.
So I'm interested. I'm going to start that.
That I need to give it another chance because
I didn't like it.
Well, I listened to it, and I realized I just really did not like the reader. I think Ms. Nadia May reads it, and that's at least at one time was the only audio of it. And a bad reader can ruin a book for you.
It's true.
Yes. And so I did not like it. I know there's all kinds of symbolism in there, but I didn't feel. I don't know. I'm gonna get pasted again by our listeners for stating an unpopular opinion. But I think that if you're going to write a book that's that has symbolic meaning to it, that just because the symbolic meaning is really interesting doesn't make the story good and enjoyable. And so I didn't feel like it was a really great story in and of itself. If it didn't have the symbolism there, what would we think of it?
Maybe I'll just try to read it just as entertainment.
And I'm hedging my judgment because it could have been the reader. So I probably owe it another reading.
Nice. Paul?
I'm still working on Outlive, that health book I'm listening to. But this weekend, I didn't want to listen to that while I was working on the farm. So I downloaded something. I don't even remember the name of it. It's a British murder mystery.
Oh, really? And you don't know the name? Who's the author?
Osgood? Richard? Osman?
Osman.
Osman, there you go.
Is it the Thursday Detective?
No. It says Steve and Amy in it.
Oh, that's their brand. That's his brand new one. That one's just,
I don't know.
I didn't like that one. But I love his other ones about the elderly people in the assisted living that are solving murder mysteries. It's very British.
Yeah, it's
setting.
nothing that
But this is totally entertaining.
Oh, yeah, it's just pure entertainment.
Yeah.
I just, wasn't looking for anything in particularly thought-provoking while I was replacing the floor on my livestock trailer.
Well, let's move on to our listener question of the week. And this one comes from Joel from Australia. And he says, my wife and I have 2 sons, 4.5 and 1. From listening to your podcast, I have such a strong desire to have my children classically educated. However, in South Australia, where we live, there are no classical schools at all, and homeschooling is simply not an option for us. Is there anything we can do to support our children's education while sending them to a more mainstream school?
I know you know the answer to this.
I'm not sure I know the answer
Yes,
to this.
you do. I can tell. I know what's going to come out of your mouth.
I have no idea what's coming out of my mouth. How do you know?
Read to your child.
Oh, yes. Right.
Okay. Now, after this reminder, would you like to go on? I mean, we're waiting on you because you had such a strong reaction.
Well, I do think reading to your children is the single most important thing you can do. It was the most important thing we did for our children. Now we have grandchildren. And I mean, my 3-year-old was over grandson was over the other day. And the thing he wants you to do is read to him. He will go get a book and he will sit down on the couch and wait for you to read to him.
Will you explain, in case people don't know, how you did this in your family? Because I think that also shows some level of commitment.
Yeah.
Because you read to your children even when they were not
and all
could sit in your lap.
Yeah, well, we would,
Right.
they were, the little ones were read to some picture book before they went to bed. The other ones were read to during the homeschool day at some point on some book that they were reading for their more formal schooling. And then I would read at the dinner table. And, we would, we read the Betsy Tacy books. We read Little House on the Prairie. We read, things that were, you kind of shoot for the middle because we had 4 kids, and it's something the youngest might not totally understand, but they had to sit there.
So would you have like a 15, 20-minute meal where everybody's talking, and then after everybody's done, you read it? While the children are
after
eating?
we finished, and I could push away the plate.
Okay.
Then I would start reading, and we just read a chapter, out of a chapter book or something. And
but you did that till they were 18.
Well, okay. So my youngest, Tim, was 16, and he was still at home. The others had all gone off, and I would even read then. And I would read. I mean, we read like even P.G. Woodhouse and some of those when they got older. But when he was 16, I remember I said, we're going to read Farmer Boy. He did not want to read Farmer Boy because Farmer Boy is a book for little kids. So I just said chapter 1 and started reading. And I finished the first chapter, and he said, well, you can read another chapter if you want to, So and of course they'd sit around and they had to sit in their seats. And so Timmy would, try to sneak out of his chair. And I'd say, get back in your seat and listen. And he'd have to get back in the seat. And he called me one day, just 2 or 3 years ago, and he said, you remember when you used to read around the table and I'd try to get up and go away, and you tell me to get back in my chair and listen? He said, when you get old, I'm going to wheel you in your wheelchair up to the table. And I'm going to read you the Twilight series. And if you try to get up and roll away, I'm going to make you get back in your place and sit there and listen. So
that is not where I thought this was going.
I thought that was exactly where this was going when you started.
I thought he was going to say, I just want to thank you for that. For that
retribution.
For making me sit in that chair. But no. Revenge.
Yes.
But also, I mean, you could do, I know a lot of people who don't have the opportunity to homeschool or to put their students, in a classical school, who want that for their children, who do a little Latin. And not just, not a lesson a week, not a whole thing, but just kind of working through the Latin grammar. What you have to be careful of is when they've been in school all day, even if it's not the quality that you would like, and I don't know anything about Australia's schools, but even if it's not, they're still tired. And so you can't really do too much at night, but you sure can do like one of our nature studies in the summer. Well, not in Australia. They're not going to be the same birds. And
they're all poisonous there anyway.
True. But you could do some Latin in the summer, some intentional Latin.
You could. You could do our Christian studies course, as a family. But honestly, I think Martin's right. I think if you just start reading good books, and that would have done so much for me. because I went to a terrible public school, and I never read a classic book. I never read anything worth reading in high school. My choices for high school classes were things like mystery and the supernatural, so I could read Agatha Christie, or which I love, but I would have benefited more from Hamlet.
Right.
And so I totally missed all that. And if my parents had read to me those great books, then that would have made a difference, I think. In my education, in my appreciation of good literature.
I mean, just doing that, just reading classic children's literature to your children is an education unto itself. I mean, if you had nothing else, that's actually still pretty good, And, I'm sure schools, and I don't know what schools are like in Australia, but if they're anything like they are here, the public schools, then that's a problem. I'm sure it's probably harder to deal with there because they don't probably have the homeschool communities they have here and all that. But I'd say, if I looked back and I had to keep one thing from their education, it would be that.
I would also say, and I don't know what the possibilities are where he's at, but if you have a choice where you're at of which school they're going to go to, do your homework. It's real easy to just say, well, this is my local school, this is where they're going. But if there is any mechanism to choose, go visit those schools, get to know those schools, and try to find the best one possible. Not just saying, well, there's nothing we can do in this area. And there may not be. There really may not be. But if there is a possibility, I would invite them to do that homework.
Right. And then because the oldest is 4.5, I also would just make sure that there is a good phonics program going on when his oldest child gets to school. And if not, I would definitely be supplementing that at night and supplementing like you had to do with one of your foster children.
Well, and my first, my oldest went to school for the first 2 years, but I taught him how to read. Because they using
whole language,
whole language stuff in our school. So you could still, that's very important. So that they can read themselves. Right. Because the purpose is to make them into readers. So they got to be able to mechanically do it, and they have to have the desire to do it. And so if you teach them to read and you're reading to them, you've done both those things.
Right. Well, that's good advice.
And if you haven't had the habit of reading to them, they will get into the habit quickly.
Yes.
It did not, we just had our foster kids that are back with their mom, and they come spend a night with us every once in a while. And they came, and it's bedtime, and they're like, well, they know it's time for a story.
Yeah.
And can I say one more thing? It hit me the other day, and it's not like I don't know this. And I've said it before too, but no screens. Because if I look at my grandchildren, there are no screens. Occasional football games or whatever, there are no screens, and they're all readers. And that's probably 50% of why they're all readers, is because there's no screans.
It does make a difference, but 4.5 and 1, those are fun years.
Yeah, they're sweet. That's little. And you're right. Like if they don't have a habit of reading to them, that is something very quick that you can pick up with 2 babies. Yeah. On to today's main topic. We are going to be in the world of Roman history because it's a big part of our classical studies program with the famous men of Rome set. That's what we're highlighting today. We offer everything to teach it, everything for the students. Part of that includes some flashcards that we are going to use as a pop quiz to see how much everybody remembers about their Roman history. So I have taken the time to look through our flashcards, and I've divided them up into a couple different categories. We've got important people, important dates and places, and then key terms.
Dates
and places.
I'm curious. Last time I read or taught Roman history was probably 2011.
Oh, okay.
I'm curious what kind of...
I've never taught Roman history, but when I taught 5th grade, we reviewed it.
Okay.
I talk to the teachers all the time, but I haven't actually studied Roman history.
I taught it when we first established Highlands Latin School, which was a while back. That's
So we're gonna
25 years
around the
ago?
turn of the century.
and we're gonna have to go in the
Literally.
Wayback Machine to
Yes,
get
the
there.
Wayback Machine.
Yes. Okay. So we're all on an even. We're on an even keel.
So do we
Indeed.
keep score?
We will indeed.
Okay, she's going to keep score.
Does anybody want to pick a category? So people, dates and places, and then terms.
Literature.
Okay. Let's go with the key term. Does anybody describe what the Fabian policy was?
I can.
You can, Martin.
Ooh. Well, the Fabian policy was, well, it gets used also in politics. I notice
It
in
does.
discussion politics to do things slowly and incrementally.
Mm-hmm. It is.
So what does it have to do?
Fabius, the general who
Yes.
fought his military campaigns that way.
Okay.
Just gradualism, not like big outright huge battles, but just doing everything incrementally and slowly,
And
strategically.
tactically and
Tactically,
strategically
to avoid direct conflict.
to avoid direct conflict, to harass the enemy.
Mhm.
This is actually the question, and this is the answer. You asked the answer.
Yeah, I
Instead
think
of
it can go either way.
Oh,
But-
okay.
Okay.
But Tanya is trying to, I think, emphasize
I
the way
think it was
she would
perfect.
use it in a classroom.
Yeah.
Oh, in the
Okay.
classroom, I would definitely. I mean, this is the question.
Mark's over here putting scores down on his
Well,
paper.
I won the first point.
Perfect.
So one
Did
for
we
me,
even have an
0 for everybody else.
opportunity? Okay, go ahead.
Well, since we're on a roll with key terms, can anybody tell me the definition of a Pyrrhic victory?
I can.
Yes.
I can too.
I think
we
I had
can
my
all
hand up
do
first.
that.
Martin might have been first.
Yes, I
He
was.
was definitely first.
Yes. Well, Pyrrhus
But
was a
he-
Greek general, and he was noted, and I can't remember what the name of the battle was, in Italy, I believe, where he won the battle, but at such a great cost to him that it was actually worse than a
He
defeat.
lost a
right.
lot of men.
He lost the war and winning the battle.
And we can still hear that term today sometimes. If someone says,
That's right.
you'll know.
That's right. Which is-
2-0-0.
Okay. Let's move on to people. This should be something we know.
Hopefully.
Tell me, who were Romulus and Remus?
I
I know
know.
that. You got to get quicker because you know this, but Martin's going to go for it every time.
Well, you all tied there.
Fine, I will go since Martin's gone first too. The brothers that founded Rome and Romulus, when they were arguing over who the city was going to get named after, Romulus and Remus decided they were going to go to different hills and watch for birds and see what the gods said to them.
Augurs of
And there was a disagreement then about how to interpret what they saw, and then Romulus just killed his brother Remus, and so the city got named after Romulus.
The
Okay,
only one?
see, this is like taking forever.
No, I'm really enjoying this a lot. It's 2-1 and
0.
0.
Well, Tanya, this one's going to be just for you.
Thank you.
This is a
She
quote.
gets a handicap.
It's a quote.
It's a quote, and you have to tell me who said it, but I think you're going to get it.
Okay.
He said, "Give me 2 good men to help me, and I will hold the bridge."
Oh. Lars Porcium of Clusium, by the non-gods he swore.
That's right.
Horatius. of the bridge.
Horatius. There we go.
I'll give her half a point for that.
Can I have something for being able to recite the first couple stanzas?
A half
No.
a point? No.
No. Okay.
No. Tell me about Carthage. Can anyone?
Well,
Carthago delenda est. It must be destroyed.
it
Carthage
was
must
the
be
greatest,
destroyed.
greatest rival of Rome.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how many
Hannibal.
wars?
Hannibal was the guy with the elephants.
From Carthage.
That's
From
right.
Carthage.
What
that
was the
tried to
name
do-
of those wars? What did they refer to them as?
Punic.
There you go.
Am I right?
Mhm.
Got it.
Do I
Okay,
get
so
6 points for
I'll
that?
give her another half point there.
Jeez.
Okay. Well, while we're on a roll with places, let's see. Does anybody know? This is a date. Does anybody know what happened in 44 BC?
Julius
Absolutely.
Caesar was assassinated.
Oh, we have a double.
Jeez. Give it to her. It's
Okay.
fine.
Give it
Ladies
to both of
first.
them. You can give it to
Okay.
both of them.
Oh, phew.
Can anybody tell me the date Rome was founded?
753 BC.
Wow.
Hey, what happened to your role?
Gonna give that to Paul.
Let's do another date.
I think you all have been fed the questions.
Okay.
I fed my children, my students, because they had to remember those dates.
Can you tell me the date of the date that Rome was sacked?
Oh.
Oh, okay. 753,
No.
590, 390. 590.
Yeah. 390.
390.
Yeah.
Oh, so nobody gets a point.
Nobody gets
Okay.
a point on that.
Okay. This is more geography. Tell me the river that Rome
Tiber.
is on. That's right, Tanya.
I think I beat you.
Okay, let's go back to
Go
people.
ahead. Give me 5. And see how much faster it is when you just have to answer and don't have to give a whole soliloquy about whatever.
Or you don't have a quote or something like that?
Which figure in Roman history is George Washington compared to?
Cincinnatus.
Okay,
I get that.
there you go. Tell me about Cato. Does anyone know?
Which
The
one?
elder?
Which
the
one?
censor, Cato the censor. I don't know
I don't
anything
know.
about him.
I don't
There's
know.
Cato
Cato
the
the-
Elder.
what did he
And there's
do?
Cato the Younger.
Who's
I don't know much about either one,
Right.
but I know.
Who's Cato the censor?
I actually don't remember that.
I know Cato is important. I don't know anything else
What did he
about
do?
Cato.
Our
What did he do?
flashcard says when the Roman Republic was degenerating, he restored it by strict discipline.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I would.
And that was just, we just know Cato. There's not an elder or lesser on that.
It doesn't say.
Okay. We don't know.
This was one of the only women I could find in the flashcard set. Who was Cornelia? What did she
Oh,
do?
she was the
mom.
mother of those, the
Gracchi.
Gracchi,
Oh, okay.
who
Yeah.
were fighting, and she said they were her jewels,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
that her children were her jewels.
Didn't she end up being like the way she was the one that squashed the infighting, didn't she? Wasn't she the one that did that?
That was Coriolanus's
Oh, that was
mother,
Coriolanus's
I
mother.
think,
That's right. That's right.
that went out and said, "Stop picking on my boy."
Yeah. Yep. Can you name the 4 ways that Caesar was great?
Oh, boy.
Orator, statesman,
Statesmanship.
Soldier.
Orator, statesman, soldier. There's one more. Well, he was an author, but that's not it, is it? Orator, statesman, soldier. He wasn't a farmer. I don't know the 4th
Scholar.
one. Scholar.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Really?
He was apparently his prose writing, which I did a little bit of translation work on very early on. Don't remember it, but his prose is considered in terms of style to be very direct and simple. It's a model
his
of
prose,
direct and
sure.
simple prose.
Yeah,
He did write down a lot.
he did.
Can anyone tell me the 3 periods of Roman history?
The monarchy, the republic, and the empire.
He's
There
right.
you go. You got it.
You've quit taking score because you're losing.
Yeah. Do
Yeah,
I
I
get a point
see.
for that?
I
over
see.
that
Well,
one?
that's why Paul has so few points.
Can anyone tell me about the office of consul? Do you know?
You served for
do you know
6
much
months.
about that role?
There's
There
two
was
of them.
Yeah.
There were 2, 6 months. Cincinnatus went back to his plow. No, that was
No,
he a
he was a
consul?
dictator.
He was a dictator.
Um,
Okay, so the consul, that was after we got rid of the king, right?
Yeah,
We got
so
rid
that
of
was
the
during the
king.
Republic.
After that
they
was
needed some
Junius
form of executive,
Brutus
but they wanted 2.
was
They
the
didn't-
first consul, wasn't he? Junius Brutus.
Well, there were 2
because,
of them. They always had 2 consuls.
Yeah, but I thought because he, am I right?
He ousted the Tarquins. That sounds right.
Yes, because of Lucretia.
Hmm.
And then they were not going to have a king anymore.
Right. But they still needed
Are we
somebody
giving you what
doing
you need?
doing
got
the
it.
executive
You got it.
function, but they didn't want a solitary person.
Right.
That was a collaborative project, so no
Yes, it
point.
really was.
That's outrageous. This one, everyone should get. Who are the plebeians?
The common people.
That's right.
Is that exactly what it says on the back? Are we that good at flashcards? The
The
common people.
common people
of
of
Rome.
Now, tell me the 4 pillars of Roman culture, and as a hint, they all start with F.
Farming,
Mm-hmm.
Faith.
Mhm.
Faith. That's good. Farming, faith, fighting.
Yes.
Another F. Farming.
Family.
Family.
That's right. That's right.
Paul and I get a point.
I could have done that. If
I guess you're just the
had long enough.
scorekeeper now. You want to just go ahead and X out your name?
I will have my revenge.
Okay, let's have it. Give this one to Martin. He needs a leg up.
That's great. Okay, Martin. Let's. What were the tribunes?
They were civil leaders.
That's right. Elected. And who do they represent?
Oh, the aristocracy?
Opposite. The common people. The plebes.
Okay, I'll subtract a point from myself.
Okay.
The irony of this is I recently finished reading Theodore Mommsen's.
Oh, that's right. You did.
And I should know that.
You did.
Let's see. What is another name for the Queen of Rhodes?
The Queen of Rhodes?
Via Appia.
Oh, I thought it was RHODES is what you asked.
No.
The Queen of Rhodes was the Appian Way.
That's right.
Ah,
I said it.
I didn't hear you.
She said it in Latin, the Via Appia.
Yeah, you did.
I don't know why.
I think the
Some of the
requirement is
things-
that you say it in English.
Okay, you can have
That is,
it.
in fact, what the
It's
flashcard
okay.
says.
It is
it
right.
does say
It
Appian.
does say Appian Way.
Well, I don't know why I said it in Latin because it's just what was stuck in my head.
I've never heard it referred to as the Queen of Rhodes before.
That's what it says.
But
Huh.
Okay, Martin, you should also know this one. What happened at the forum?
Julius.
What was the
Well, lots of
purpose?
things happened at the
kinds of
forum, but
stuff
I mean,
happened at the forum.
Well, that's true.
Was
But
it
yeah.
the
What's
murder
the
of Julius
purpose?
Caesar? Was that in the forum?
Well,
Not in the
forum-
movie.
The Senate House is right in the forum.
That's
right?
when they did business, conducted
Yeah.
business.
I mean, I have been there.
Have you?
I have.
I have
I've seen it.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, all,
You
like,
get a point
I get a
for
point for
being
that?
there?
No, yes.
but the forum is the Roman agora, right? So like the agora was the marketplace. Like that's where all that interchange, societal interchange happened.
Not just business, also gossip.
And murder.
and murder.
And murder. It's a busy place.
And governing. Yeah.
Who were the patricians?
They were the aristocracy.
Yes.
The noble
I can
The
come
noble
up with
people?
yes.
That's right.
I'd love to know what happened in 510. Do y'all know?
That I think is the establishment of the republic. No.
You're
Is that right? Yeah.
All right. Point
Give
for
him
Paul.
a point for
That
that.
wasn't one she asked.
I asked it.
But you're not the moderator.
really not gonna get him
You're
a
cheating.
Who was Camillus?
No idea. Was he the one, or maybe no? It was Coriolanus whose mama saved him.
Yeah, I think that's right. But
I don't know who
Camillus?
Camillus was. Hang on, there. Paul thinks he knows.
No, I don't.
Did Momsen tell you by chance?
The only thing I can think of is the Italian priest. There's an Italian work of the priest, early 20th century humorous thing, and Camillus is like the communist mayor in the story. That's the only thing that comes to mind.
This quote on the back of the flashcard, he said, "We Romans defend our country not with gold, but with steel."
Okay. How would we have come up with that when you said, "Who is Camillus?" You didn't say you wanted a quote from him, or I might could have given you that.
But when I read the back of the flashcard.
Yeah.
Okay. Who was Quintus Fabius?
We already.
He was the Fabius.
He was
answered-
the fifth Fabian.
Yeah, another point for me there. Tied for first.
Okay. Can anyone name? Is Martin helping himself to win?
Yes.
Okay. Can anyone name the 3 powerful generals who ruled Rome leading up to Caesar?
Sulla, Pompey.
One more.
Sulla, Pompey. I don't know.
No
I can't
point.
Mark. Does it start
Close.
with an M?
It does.
Sulla Sulla and.
It's not Marius, is it?
It is.
Yes.
There it is.
Okay.
So is that half a
We
point
each
for you
get a
and half a
point.
point?
We each get a point.
1/3 of a point for me and 2/3 for Tanya.
Should I read a quote and see if you can get it?
Yes, that's much easier
Okay.
than having
Okay.
us do the quote.
I have given my word of honor to return, and I cannot break it.
Cincinnatus?
No.
Mucius,
Oh,
the
yes.
left-handed.
Yes.
He put his hand in the fire.
No.
Incorrect.
Romulus.
It starts with an R.
Romulus?
No.
I was wrong.
No, I mean.
Apparently.
Oh,
Regulus.
Regulus.
Okay, I meant it.
No.
Now this one, what was the name of the person who burnt his hand?
Caius Mucius,
That's
the
right.
left-handed.
He burnt his hand to show courage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does anyone remember that story?
Yes.
He did it in front of the enemy, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
when they wanted him to.
I think they wanted them to surrender, and he was like the envoy to the enemy, and they wanted him to surrender, and he was like, "This is what Romans will do," and he just kind of like burnt his hand.
Yeah, that's
It's like we don't care if you're gonna like if we
Like
get hurt.
he was trying to keep them from attacking because he was like, "We will not give up."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But did he didn't lose his life? He became a hero, didn't he?
I think so. Yeah, because they let him then go back to Rome, and then they fought.
You do understand that fourth graders could do a better job of this than we've done.
Who led the revolution to overthrow the monarchy?
Junius Brutus.
You're right. That's right.
Tanya said that earlier.
We're almost through our deck of cards.
Well, we
it's
didn't
been
take the whole
painful.
deck, thankfully, because the whole
Oh.
deck would have been a lot longer.
This one's an exciting one. Who was the general who cleared the Mediterranean Sea of pirates?
Pompey.
Oh,
That's right. Great job.
I just wonder why this stuff stuck in my head.
yeah. I mean, I wanted to complain about you cheating since you're the curriculum director and you have to deal with this stuff all the
I
time.
literally don't know why it's there.
All right, we've got one more. This is a famous person, the plebeian general who was the consul of Rome 7 times over.
I
Remember
don't
that?
have any idea. And he was a plebeian?
Mm-hmm.
A general.
And he was in the list of the 3 generals that you just
So
listed.
that would be Sulla.
Sulla maybe.
Marius,
or
then.
Marius.
It was Marius.
I would not have known that.
Mm.
You don't have to give me a point for that one.
Okay.
Did I win?
We're going to tabulate the results and announce in a week or two.
and come
it
back
looks
with a
like
buzzer.
Paul won. Oh no, he's got 7.
Tanya, really, you knew your stuff.
I don't have confidence in the tabulation of what happened.
I am in these books more than they are.
Yes.
So they know Roman history better than I do.
So I'd
but I
say
know
she
these
probably
drill
just-
questions better because
Just for fairness, just mark
I'm
off about
literally
5 of those
living
points.
on a 4th grade level.
And then I win.
So these drill questions, so there's about 100 of them
There's a big
in
stack.
each one of the famous men books. And this is for Cheryl. The questions existed before the books, before we ever had study guides for them. Like these have been around since he was teaching Roman history, and she would just give us a list of the 100 drill questions. And she said, this is what students need to master. This is what we want them to know. It's just boom, boom, boom. They need to know this information so that later when they study it in detail, they've got all these hooks that we've built for them to put so that they've got just an introduction to a lot of different things. So the drill questions are actually the origin of this course,
Really?
which nobody
Okay.
really knows
No.
anymore. But when they get to their final exam, the final exam comes from the drill questions.
Does it? Okay.
Yes. So
And we
that
usually do
is-
this in what grade?
We do this in 4th or 5th, depending on if you're HLS or standard
Mhm.
curriculum.
That's right. And it's part of our classical studies.
It is. And so our students will have mastered all of these that we butchered. They would, I mean, you could sit
They
here
will
with
know.
a 4th grader and they would beat you every time.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I remember reading Famous Men of Rome in about 4th grade. And well, we did Greek myths, and then we did Famous Men of Rome,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Famous Men of Greece. And I just remember like sitting, and I just loved reading the stories.
Oh, yeah.
It is
They're
exciting.
so captivating.
It
They
is.
are.
Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
very good. And Rome, I think, is the most exciting stories.
There's a lot going on.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh,
Fun.
fun. We'll have to do another
I'm
pop
sorry
quiz.
you lost, Martin.
I haven't counted them yet.
I think next time we really do need a buzzer.
That's right.
God,
That
that
would
would be
be-
really irritating to our audience.
Maybe we need a buzzer all the time.
We need a buzzer that just lights, that has a light up, that lights
maybe
up.
so. And
No sound.
You could have a
whichever one
clicker?
lights. Can our video department take care of a buzzer system? Just a light.
We'll work on it. Oh,
And it only lights up the one that hits it first. Just like Jeopardy.
So,
You
so,
think you've clicked it.
so there is a chance of injuries actually occurring.
Yes, because I could beat you over the head with mine.
I can see that happening.
oh, fun time quizzing on Roman history. And we'll have to be back to, I think we have another quiz scheduled sometime soon.
Do we?
So we'll have to study next time. So,
We're gonna have to keep us all from knowing what the theme is, so we
know.
don't go. One of us doesn't go.
Well, obviously
Study
we
prep.
did.
and cram.
Obviously we didn't.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
we totally butchered it.
All in good fun.
Starts with a C.
All in good fun. Well, thanks for being good sports, and thank you for joining us. We'll be back next time. Thanks for joining us today on Classical Etc. by Memoria Press. If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, or share this episode or comment. We love to hear your questions and your comments. If you want to learn more about Memoria Press, please go to memoriapress.com. This has been Classical Etc. We're so glad you joined us, and we'll see you next time.